is preparing our live stream now. Awesome. Awesome. Well, what other objections have you guys got? Let's see. Got some terrible agent objections. That's awesome. Cool, guys. So let's see. So, guys, I'm Jason Morris here, and this is Monday night script practice. I'm Jason Morris, and this is Monday Night Script Practice. So we are live. We're actually live on YouTube. We usually don't go live on YouTube, but I want to do this. I want to make this a regular thing for you guys that are in my group coaching. I want to make it a regular thing that we're having this, because I believe that if we can work on our scripts, and we work on what people are saying, then if we practice our scripts, right, and we ask the same questions to 100 sellers, 500 sellers, 1,000 sellers, then what will eventually happen is we're going to know all the answers. So the really cool thing about that is once we know all the answers, it's almost like you start developing some psychic abilities where you literally get to the point where you are just, I mean, man, you know what they're going to say before they say it. And sometimes you're overcoming the objections actually before they can actually give you the objection. So that's where the magic comes in with these scripts. And the problem is, a lot of us as real estate agents, the problem with a lot of agents is they just don't practice enough. You know, they don't practice enough. They don't practice overcoming objections. If we can learn to overcome, if we start writing down our objections, and we just can overcome the ones that are the top 3 that we get all the time, right? The top 3 that we get all the time, we will literally change the way we're doing business. I mean, without a doubt, we'll change the way we're doing business, and we'll change the conversations we have. Like I've told you guys in my group coaching before, that if we can take and we can cut the term listing out of our vocabulary, then what's going to happen is, if we cut the term listing out of our vocabulary, it's going to change our conversations too. Because whenever we hear people talk about listing, and we say the term listing, it's kind of got a negative connotation around it, right? But really, the term listing has nothing to do with anything really outside of the real estate business. It's really a slang term that's just, I mean, it's just that. It's really just a slang term. It's basically industry terminology, and that is all that it is. So, guys, I want to show you guys something really cool. This is actually going to be on Amazon tomorrow. You guys in my group coaching, you guys have a PDF version that's an advanced copy, but this is going to be, the pre-sales are going to start actually tomorrow, but these are the basic scripts, the ones that you get started, and the ones that you have to work on. So tonight, what we're going to focus on is for sale by owners. So let's see. Give you 3% if you bring a buyer. Let's go ahead and get out the annotation here, so we can type some of these out, so we can talk about how to deal with these. I'll bring you 3%. I'll give you 3%. So raise your hand if you guys had this before. I'll give you 3% if you bring a buyer. Okay, guys, I want to explain this objection to you, Demetria, because I believe that this is a great objection to get. Okay, when you get this objection, what it means is, number one, they see value in working with you. They see value in working with you. They know that an agent is going to be an option to bring a buyer, probably the best option to bring a buyer, right? Really, when you get this objection, you're really at the point where they're saying, hey, Demetria, we want to work with you. You're just negotiating what you're going to get paid, right? You know, and let's say you want to get paid 6%. You want to get paid 6%. You're just negotiating you want 6, they're offering 3, and you're negotiating, trying to figure out where you want to be in the middle. Now, uh, I'm not telling you to discount your commission from what you normally charge or telling you anything like that. However, sometimes I do feel like we need to make a business decision. If you normally charge 6, are you willing to take the listing for 5 if it's in a great area and they're willing to price it well, right? So what I think that you should do with this, I think that the script that you should use and the way that you should overcome this objection is basically you continue the script, right? Hey, Mr. Seller, well, that sounds great. Can I meet you today at 2 o'clock? Can I meet you tomorrow at 2 o'clock? And then you actually follow up with your presentation. So number one, when you're on the phone with them, always get the email. I'll just send your pre-listing package. Are you using a pre-listing package? Okay, you want to get the email to send your pre-listing package, send ASAP, follow up the next day. If you're going on the listing appointment, it's a 2 or 3 day gap, follow up the next day. Make sure they got it. See if they had any questions before you go to the house. Now, when you get to the house, right, when you get to their house, you want to make sure a couple of different things. You want to make sure that you have your pricing strategy, net sheet, and number 3, all your paperwork, right? If you can show up to their house, they want to work with you. They understand the value in working with a real estate agent. They're willing to pay you something. It just isn't as much as you really would like to get paid. And guys, I think this is one of the best objections you can get. I think this is an objection that you should be excited about getting. And I think you should set the appointment and show up to the house. Don't negotiate the commission over the phone. When you get there in front of them, tour the house real quick, spend 10, 15 minutes looking at the house. Hey, Mr. Mrs. Seller, I do a lot of research before I come to people's houses. Can we sit at your kitchen table and take a look at what I found out? No one is ever going to tell you no, I promise you. No one, everybody's too nosy to tell you no. That's the key. Okay, then you go down through your pricing strategy. And Dimitri, if you guys are in my group coaching, you guys know that I like an active pricing strategy. It's easy to explain. If you guys need help with it, just send me a message through Facebook. I'll be glad to help you with it. The active pricing strategy is your pricing based on active comparables, right? Your pricing based on active comparables, and then when you explain how it works, you pull out the comparables, you pull out what's happening in the neighborhood, and then you pull out the net sheet. Hey, Mr. Mrs. Seller, this house is greater than yours. It's got this. Your house has that. How does it actually compare apples to apples, right? Then you pull out the net sheet, go down through the net sheet, and then whenever we get to the net sheet, guys, I like to have a 3-column net sheet. You're in my group coaching. Look in, you can actually find the spreadsheet there on the group coaching website, jasonmorrisgroupcoaching.com. You can find the spreadsheet there, and you can literally just plug in your numbers and plug in your market stuff. Make it as simple as possible, right? We want to be as transparent as possible. Now, I like to have one of those 3 columns to line up with the price they're wanting, even if their price is a little bit high. And I'll tell you, the way the market's heading, guys, I'm going to encourage you to do this. If you think it's a $155,000 house, but they need to list for $165,000, guys, we're heading into the spring, heading into the summer. I think you should take that listing. Now, David asked, why are you sending me a pre-listing package? I told you I wasn't listing. Now, here's the thing. Now, when we're talking to you guys, we're doing our training, I always call it the pre-listing package and stuff. Whenever we're talking to the sellers, we want to talk about it in 2 different ways. Number one, how do you explain your pre-listing package on the phone? Okay, number one, information. Here, let's write this a little bit. Me, my team, and what we do to sell houses. Right. So this is the way this goes, David. They say, yeah, well, we're willing to pay 3%. Hey, fantastic. Well, I'd like to come out and take a look at your house. Would tomorrow at 2 o'clock be okay? And they say, yeah, tomorrow works for us. You go, well, great, Mr. Seller. What I'd like to do, what's your email address? I'd like to send you some information about me and my team and what we do to sell houses. Right. It's a little bit better than saying your pre-listing package. I tell you guys on the phone, if you guys haven't realized this or not, I don't know if you've realized this or not, nobody really wants to list their house, right? What they want to do is they want to sell their house. So we really need to focus hard on not cutting the word listing completely out of our vocabulary when we're talking to sellers. I guarantee you guys that is a strategy you guys can start doing tomorrow. You know, you almost need like a swear jar, right? Where you put $1 in it every time you say a cuss word. You need to do it every time you say listing on the phone with a seller. When we're doing training and stuff, it's a lot easier to explain as a pre-listing package. But when you're talking to your seller, you're going down through my scripts. We present it like this: information about me and my team and what we do to sell houses. Or number two, it's your marketing plan, right? And that is what it is, right? One of those two ways. I like number one. That would be the best way to explain it. Information about me, my team, and what we do to sell houses. That way you know who's coming to your house tomorrow. Know a little bit about me before I get there, right? Nothing wrong with that. People are crazy nowadays, right? We got all kind of crazy stuff happening. Everybody wants to know. I guarantee you they're Googling you anyway, right? Now, this next one Demetria has, I'm going to copy and paste this real quick if I can. Was not letting me. So here's what Demetria's next objection is. And you guys go ahead, post your objections. Post what you have, what you've been struggling with, and what you've been having problems overcoming. But Demetria, I've worked with several terrible agents from your brokerage, and the deal fell through right before closing. Now, Demetria, I'm going to tell you, this is a tough situation. It's a tough situation. Now, here's one thing. Here's one thing that I've often tried to do or not to do is I never tried to relist a property. I didn't really go after properties hard that had been previously listed by my brokerage, right? If you're at a real big brokerage, it's probably hard not to do that. But lots of times if they had a bad experience with your brokerage, your actual brokerage, say if you're at, let's say, for example, you're at Century 21 and there's 10 Century 21s in your office, in your market, then, hey, it's easy. Hey, that's a different Century 21 office, right? But if you're at an office where, hey, there's 250 agents, you're going to run into, there's going to be some agents that aren't so great in your office. Now, I've worked with several agents from your brokerage and the deal fell through right before closing. I'm really sorry, Mr. Seller, that happened. Mr. Seller, that happened. What can I do to make this up to you? Mr. Seller, I sell houses. I'm working this brokerage a long time. Can you tell me some details about it? Right? That's the route I would go with that objection. That's a tough one. I mean, that's almost a condition rather than an objection. That's a tough one to deal with. Sometimes the only thing you can do is give that one some time. Now here's the thing with these guys when you run into those, Demetria. Amateurs convince, professionals sort. I've talked about this a lot lately in my group coaching, where sorters versus converters. Okay, so a converter is a person that wants to, as a converter, it's a salesperson that wants to take a non-believer and make him a believer. We've all seen the movies like Wolf of Wall Street. We've all seen stuff like that. And basically, what a lot of us want to do is we want to take that person. Let's say for this, let me give you a great example. You got a deck of cards there. Okay, the converter will flip through the deck of cards and try to, or convincer will try to they'll find a 6 and they go get an ink pen and they try to make it an ace, right? We all know that 6 will never be an ace. We all know that 6 will never be a 9. We all know there's some people that talk about buying or selling a house that will never buy or sell a house. They will continue to rent the rest of their lives, right? Now, what a sorter does is they go through that deck of cards and they flip through them real quick and they find all the aces. They find all the aces, and every now and then they circle back through the rest of the deck again just to make sure there's not another one in there, right? To make sure a card didn't change on its own. I mean, and that's what you have to do sometimes. Sometimes a lead you just can't convert. You let it go. You move on. You move on to another one. That would be my response. They said, "Hey, Jason, we've dealt with your brokerage before, and we don't like you guys. You're mean people, and our deal fell through." "Hey, Mr. Seller, I'm really sorry that happened to you. Can you tell me a little bit of details? Maybe I can find out some more information, shed some more light on the situation for you. You know, build a little bit of trust, move forward." And that's where I would go with that. And if they acted like they liked you and they're willing to set an appointment with you and move forward with you, fantastic. If not, I wouldn't waste a lot of time on it. I wouldn't think about it a lot. I just move on to the next person. So guys, what other objections do you guys have? Yep, exactly. Next. Adam will pay 3% to bring me a buyer, not interested in listing whatsoever. Hey, no problem. You are interested in selling your house, though, correct? You are interested in selling your house. And then just continue your script. You know, guys, some of the people that have fought me the most, "Oh, I'm not hiring an agent. No, I'm not wanting to list my house. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that." Some of the people that have fought me the most in the past were the easiest people to get to sign the paperwork when I got in front of them. Dimitri, I got another great one here. "The market's great. I don't need an agent." Market's great. I don't need an agent. You know, guys, sometimes I'll tell you what, this time of year, one of the difficult things for us as real estate agents is the market takes off. The market is strong right now. And when they say, "Hey, I don't need an agent, the market's great." "Hey, no problem. No problem, Mr. Seller. I understand you guys are getting a lot of interest on your own." Now they're going to say, "Oh, yeah, we are." "Hey, well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to send you some information about me and my team and what we do to sell houses. If you decide later on you want to hire an agent, you'll already know what we do and you'll have my contact information. What's your email address?" Right? Try to get an email address, send over your pre-listing package, follow up once a week, every 10 days or so. Guys, the more people you get that pre-listing package in their hands, the more opportunities you have to list their house, right? And the thing is, that's going to make you stand out because 99% of agents out there have nothing at all, nothing whatsoever to send a seller that tells about the service they're offering. I believe that we're in this service. We don't sell houses. We sell a service that sells houses. We just get paid on its performance, right? And some of these things, some of the objections you get, you need to determine one of two things. Number one, is it an objection or a condition? If it's a condition, there's nothing that can overcome that except for time, lots of times, right? The fact that they have a doctor's appointment tomorrow and they can't meet you, that's a condition. There's nothing we can do except for call back next week and hope there was nothing serious with the doctor's office, right? Say a little prayer for them maybe. That's all we can do. You had a bad storm, a tree fell over on the roof. It's going to do nobody any good to put that house on the market, right? Those are all conditions. Okay, the fact that maybe the house is stuck in probate, right? That's a condition. Hey, even if they had a contract, they can't sell it today. That's a condition. I had a guy not long ago. He's a really good friend of mine. He had a house. It was a funky deal. I mean, the whole thing was a funky deal. Anyway, I'll give you guys the short version of it because it's still going on. There was he'd loaned a guy some money in exchange. The guy gave him the deed for the house. Guy never paid him back his money. He kicked the guy out of the house and said he wanted to sell it. Right? Plain, simple deal. He kicks the guy out, evicts the guy from the house, puts the house on the market. And anyway, guy goes and files suit against him. And he couldn't sell the house until the suit was settled. Easy deal, it was cut and dry. However, through the court system, it's taken the guy 3 years to get the lawsuit settled up. I mean, that's the condition. There's nothing we can do. Lots of times objections are a smokescreen. You know, when the market's great, they don't need an agent. You know, hey, they can, they just, you know, they have a lot of confidence. Now, I'll tell you, the thing that breaks confidence is mortgage payments. Mortgage payments and lying buyers. Did you guys know? Raise your hand if you knew that. Give me a thumbs up if you're listening on YouTube. Did you know that buyers lie sometimes? The greatest lie that I hear in my market is people that throw an ad up on Craigslist and they say, hey, we found a buyer. And you go, hey, fantastic. Fantastic, Mr. Seller. Do you have a written contract? No, but they're coming the end of July. They want my house. And they want your house based off of 3 cell phone pictures you took with a 2004 flip phone, a Razor, you know? And then the buyer never shows up, or the buyer shows up and wants to offer them half, or wants some funky owner financing or something. So, you know, there's a lot of funky deals like that out there. So what you got to do, Dimitri, is you got to follow up. Guys, here's the thing. We need to consistently make 12 to 15 follow-ups. We got to do it. We got to do it. That's where most of our deals are going to come from, right? We want to get our pre-listing package in their email as quick as we can. We want to follow up based on that, and we want to follow up with things of value, right? We want to treat these people and follow up with them as if we're already working for them. We want to build a relationship, and we don't want gaps to be between follow up either. If you wait a month to follow up, probably don't even need to worry about it. Another agent's followed up for you, right? They forgot your name. You know, we got to follow up for a couple of reasons. One is so they don't forget you. Sometimes, guys, get this. Sometimes people don't call us back. The reason they don't call us back is they forgot our number. They forgot what our last name is, right? They really like David Wiley, but David Wiley's last name is spelled kind of funny. And, hey, they couldn't find him when they Googled him, right? They couldn't find his number. That's it. So I'd like to try selling myself for now. Hey, no problem, Mr. Seller. How long are you, how soon are you wanting to move? You know, it's a great question to ask. How soon are you wanting to move? You know, but I'd like to try selling myself for now. And, you know, nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that at all. But, you do have to, you got to go, sometimes you do have to go out there and you got to ask questions, you got to follow up, and you got to keep going. So guys, let's go down through my for sale by owner script real quick. Has this been helpful for you guys? Give me a little bit of feedback. Awesome. Awesome. So you guys in my group coaching, you guys already have the scripts. My book that's going to be on Amazon, that's going to start pre-selling tomorrow, is going. Hey, thanks, Adam. I really appreciate it, man. It's going to be a little bit more detailed with this, and it should be actually officially released in about 2 weeks. July 5th is the date that we're shooting for, and going to have a little more information about scripts and getting really good at scripts. It's going to be what you need to get started. Now, this is available in my group coaching right now. So, guys, let's go through the for sale by owner script one time, because I want to explain this to you, and I'll explain what we're going through here. You know, because for sale by owners, guys, I know there's a lot of you guys that ask me where to get phone numbers from. A lot of you guys ask me where to get phone numbers from, and guys, the best place to get phone numbers from is RedX. Actually, if you go to Jason Morris RedX.com, it waives $150 setup fee. So if you call them, you tell them that you're in real estate agents that really work, they also waive it. So yes, you can go to Zillow. Zillow does get some. This is going to get all of them, and for basically about $1 a day, you're just going to open up your laptop and they're going to be sitting there. So if you schedule that hour of prospecting time, you're not spending 30 minutes of it going and looking for people to call. You're actually making calls right then, right? You can open up your laptop and start making calls. Adam loves RedX so far, keeps everything organized, and it does already put it in a CRM for you. Their Vortex CRM comes with it so that you got everything there. You can schedule your follow-ups, and you don't have to worry about, hey, where's that little slip of paper I wrote it on, right? So guys, I'm going to walk you through this script so you know kind of the idea behind it. You know the idea behind it. You know kind of how it goes. Right? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is Jason Morris from eXp. I was calling you about your house. Is it still for sale? Oh, yeah, it's still for sale. Hey, fantastic. What will you take for it? Right? Now, guys, I know that we have the ad pulled up right there in front of us. We got pictures pulled up right there in front of us. We got everything pulled up in front of us, right? However, I'll tell you this. 16 years of selling real estate, you wouldn't believe how many times they're asking $150,000 for it in the Craigslist ad, but they tell you on the phone, hey, we're asking 150, but we'd take 135 if somebody paid cash. Here's the thing, guys. Everybody gets cash at closing, right? Sellers always get cash at closing. I've never seen anybody try to trade chickens at closing, right? I don't know what else you're going to get except for cash. You're not going to get a bag of money, but it's going to get deposited in your account. So what will you take for it? I said, well, we'll take what's on the ad. Hey, sounds great. Well, how soon do you want to sell it? Guys, now this is important because you're gauging motivation. Now you're going to hear the stupid thing a lot of times where they say, we want to sell it yesterday. Soon as somebody comes along with the money. Right? You're going to hear some stuff like that. And you go, oh, yeah, no kidding. So you guys would like to be gone soon. So now when I'm making calls, I like to have RedX pulled up and I like to have MLS pulled up. That way I can ask them questions about stuff that's in the ad. No kidding. Well, it's in Presswick neighborhood. It's in this neighborhood. It's in that neighborhood. Ask them questions that you already know the answer. It's in there. You're just confirming what's in the ad. The meantime, you're pulling up the neighborhood. You're pulling up something so you got an idea. Now, I like to ask questions about the house. Is your home in pretty good shape? 9 out of 10 times they say yeah. Nobody ever says, hey, my house looks like shit. Every now and then they'll say, hey, well, it's a fixer-upper. And usually when they say it's a fixer-upper, guys, you never can tell. Right? You never can tell. But I'm going to tell you this, guys. The biggest problem a lot of agents have with listing houses is they only want to list pretty houses. Right? Some sellers, some agents have standards so high on the houses they want to list, they make it too difficult for the seller to list their house with them. Right? Sometimes that happens, but you got to ask them, how good is your home in good shape? How old's the roof? How old's the HVAC? Guys, those are probably two of the most expensive things to replace is the new roof and a new HVAC. Wouldn't you agree? So if they're living in a house, well, I'm going to use my market, for example. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We have a lot of salt in the air. A 30-year architectural roof really only lasts about 22, 25 years, right? We have a lot of hurricanes. We got a lot of salt in the air. It's just, the elements to have a little bit more wear and tear. 30-year roof don't last 30 years around here, right? So let's say that they have a house that was built in 2005. That was during the last real estate boom. Man, that house is 14 years old. That life of that roof's probably only another 5 to 7 years. So if you have a seller that just put a new roof on it, we had a major hurricane 3 years ago, lots of new roofs, man. But if you got a seller that has a brand new roof in a 15-year-old neighborhood, guys, that's a big selling feature. Average lifespan of an HVAC is only about 12, 14 years, right? So if you've got house number 101 listed and it's $5,000 higher than, or $10,000 even higher than house number 105, right? But it's got a brand new roof and a brand new HVAC, and house number 105 has a 14-year-old HVAC and a 14-year-old roof. Guys, guess what? That new roof and that new HVAC are big selling features. You're going to be able to get a little more money for it. Right? Wouldn't you guys agree with that? So you want to ask these questions. You want to get an idea of comparables. You want to get an idea how it's going to compare. And then, guys, you got to pop the question here. If I can get you enough so that you can put, let's just say their price is $150,000. If I can get you enough so you can put $150,000 in your pocket after my fees and attorney fees are paid, would that be okay with you? Right? You're testing them. Would that be okay with you? What would you guys say to that? If somebody said the same thing to you, same line. You want $150,000 for your house, and I say, hey, Charles, I can get you $150,000. If I can get you $150,000 in your pocket after my fees and stuff are paid, would you be okay with that? Let's be honest. You're going to have some sellers that are going to say, oh, we don't want to work with an agent. Hey, no problem, but you do want to sell your house though, right? When they tell you they don't want to work with an agent, hey, no problem. You do want to sell your house. That needs to be your next line. Most objections they're going to come up with, answer the question, the answer to overcome the objection is you do want to sell your house, right? I'm just checking because look, if you don't want to sell it, it's cool. All right, if you don't want to sell it, hey, no problem. We'll hang up the phone now. Right? Now, when you say that, you do have to have a little posture. You do have to have a little posture. You do have to be confident about it. You can't go, well, Mr. Seller, you do want to sell your house, right? You know, I've heard agents do this on the phone. They go from speaking from a position of power to speaking in that little mousy tone and begging for the listing. You know, think about this, guys. Do you want to go to the doctor that's very confident when they talk to you, or the doctor that's real mousy that doesn't really want to tell you what's wrong? Which doctor do you want to go to? Which attorney do you want representing you in court? You want the one that you can believe in what he says, the tone of their voice makes you think, hey, this guy knows what's going on. This guy knows what's going on. So, guys, you got to do that. So as soon as they say they're okay with it, say, hey, will you be available at 4 p.m. tomorrow? Now, here's the reason why you have to state a time that fits in your schedule. You got to state a time that fits in your schedule, because if you do not, if you say, well, Mr. Seller, I'd like to come by and take a look at your house, what time works for you? The line they're going to say is, well, I got to talk to my wife. Oh, I got to talk to my husband, and I got to get back to you. How many of you guys have heard of that? Raise your hand or give me the thumbs up button. Have you ever heard of that? Oh, I got to talk to my wife and I got to get back to you, right? And then they never call you back, and then you can't get them back on the phone. Guys, that is you created an objection for yourself, right? You state the time. You state the time. You ever notice when you call the dentist, they don't say, hey, David, hey, Adam, hey, man, when you get a few minutes, you want your teeth cleaned, come on in here. Come on by here. Stop by, right? They don't say that. They set a time that fits their schedule, because that's what professionals do. And also, it takes the guesswork out for them, right? All of us would really rather have an options laid out for us, and us to be, honestly, most people want to be told what to do, right? It makes it easier when we're just told what to do. And guys, I'll tell you this. If they say, oh, 4 o'clock don't work for me tomorrow, your next response needs to be, when they say 4 o'clock don't work, no problem. Will you be at work? Right? Now, here's the thing. Hey, no problem. Will you be at work? Now, they're going to answer you, and they say, oh, well, yeah, I'll be at work. Okay, do you work normally 8 to 5? Right? You need to have a follow-up question. But when they tell you a time won't work, hey, no problem. Will you be at work tomorrow? What's your next day off? What if we move it back? Hey, no problem. Well, I tell you what, do you get off around 5:30? They say yes. Say, well, how about if I just meet you over there at 6 and we'll take about 15 minutes, do a quick walk through your house, right? Suggest another time. If they tell you no to the next time, guys, they say no to the next time, say, hey, no problem. I understand how it is during the week. Guys, I'm looking at my schedule right now. It looks like I'm going to be in your neighborhood on Saturday. Would Saturday morning work better for you? Right? Guys, here's the thing. A lot of us as agents, we think we've went through this script. We can get them the price they're looking for. We can get them the price they're looking for. We can get them everything that we've talked about we can do, right? Things are good. Things are good, right? We like when things are good. Oh, what's wrong with suggesting another time? Guys, we need to get in the habit of suggesting, of closing for the appointment 3 times. Closing for the appointment 3 times. Now, when you first start trying to do this, it's going to be a little bit difficult. It's going to be a little uncomfortable, right? But we know when we're uncomfortable, we're growing. But we need to push for the appointment 3 times. So now, and I got 1 or 2 things I want to go over here with you real quick, and we're going to get to that question about what if you can't get them what they want. And we're going to go over that in just a second too. Here, let's see. So guys, you set the appointment. Great. I'd like to send you over a package that tells a little bit about me and my team, what we do to sell houses. What's your email address? 9 out of 10 are going to give it to you with no hesitation. I'm going to send it in just a few minutes. Send it to them as soon as possible, then text them to make sure they received it. Okay, I'm going to plan to see you at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Now, guys, remember when you're making calls, I'll put this at the bottom of the script because I want you guys to know this and keep this in mind. When you're making calls, you're calling to get a price, gauge motivation, and set an appointment. That's it. You can ask them about when they're moving, when's their cat going to come with them, have they seen the house down the street, whatever other question that's completely irrelevant to the conversation. You can ask them when you're face-to-face if you want to, right? But when you're on the phone, your purpose is to set appointments. It's to get a price, gauge motivation, set an appointment. That's the reason you're calling. We set an appointment. Guys, it doesn't matter what you think about price. We set an appointment. We can always call back when we've done more research. We can always show up and show them the price. Now, a lot of agents here, I want to talk to you about this real quick, and then we're going to we'll break for tonight. I know I promised 30 minutes and I'm going over a little bit, but I think it's really, really important, and I think it's going to help you guys make money. Is that cool if I tell you guys something that's going to help you make money? So guys, that line, if I can get you enough so that you can put $150,000 in your pocket after my fees and attorney fees are paid, would you be okay with that? The number one question I get from real estate agents when they look at this script is they say, oh, what if you can't get them the $150,000? Well, guys, here's the thing. You haven't seen the house. That's number one. You haven't seen the house. When you show up, your net sheet has to have $150,000 in one column. That's the key. It's got to have 150. You got 3 columns. You got to have one column that lines up with 150,000. It might be the really high column, right? The middle column, I like to put the number I want it to be at. The low column, I like to put worst case scenario, right? If we show up in the house, really looks real crappy. Okay. So I like to have the low column, the column I want, and the high column if needed. Or the column, let's say for example, their price is low and you put that in the middle column, the column you want. Sometimes you might need the higher column, right? So, but here's the thing, guys. Sometimes when you get to the house, I'll tell you this, we're in a market that's moving up. If they have a motivation that's say like a 6 or higher, meaning they have a real reason to move, they have a real reason they want to move. If they're moving for a job, they can't afford the payment, a real reason, right? A real problem. Then I believe that it's okay to list that house a little bit more higher than where we think the market's going to be right now. Because remember this, guys, we're going to take a 3 to 6 month listing agreement. So here's the thing. If you take a 3 to 6 month listing agreement, the market, would you guys agree? Raise your hand if you agree with this. We're in the month of May. We've got June, July, and August, hottest months of the year. Do you think the market might move up 5% in your market the next 3 months? Do you think it might move up 3% in your market the next 3 months, right? Do you think cheaper houses that are cheaper than the one you're about to list, you got to list this one at 165. Don't you think a couple of houses in the neighborhood and stuff are going to sell? Definitely possible. Guys, this is a pricing strategy. A pricing strategy is the strategy we're going to use to get the price they want. That's what it is. That's what we're pitching to them. The way that we can get them $150,000 in their pocket is we put the house on the market for $159,000. When the three that are cheaper than theirs, they're the exact same floor plan, exact same house, that are on the exact same street. When those three are cheaper, they're probably going to sell in the next 30 to 60 days with the market moving the way it is. So let's say that, for example, when these go under contract in 30 to 45 days, your house is going to be the lowest price one. But now you always look for the pluses with their house. Does their house maybe they have a lot where their house backs up to the woods? That's definitely a plus, right? Maybe they have a corner lot. It's definitely a plus. Maybe their house has hardwood floors and the other one has have carpet. Maybe their house is in really great shape and the other houses are beat up a little bit. Hey guys, maybe the other houses are rented. You guys ever tried to show a tenant occupied house that has a lease in place? Guys, in my market, it's almost impossible. And a lot of tenants believe that they're going to have to move in my area. A lot of tenants believe they're going to have to move. So guys, let's say there's a house priced at $150 and a house priced at $160, but the $150,000 house has tenants in place. Guys, it's tough to get in the door. So that house is not going to be shown. So a lot of people are going to see that house, but then they're going to show your listing. Guys, we got to have a pricing strategy. A lot of us are in the mindset that we need to list a house and get multiple offers by Friday. You know, a lot of us are in that mindset, and we need to break that mindset. We're working for the sellers. Our plan that we lay out at the listing appointment needs to include, the strategy needs to be how to get them the price they're looking for, right? If you can't, there's no way possible. You need 100 more houses to sell, then, you know, you need 100 more houses to sell. Now, one of the questions I've got to this too is they say, oh, what about the appraisal? I'm going to tell you guys a secret. 16 years of doing real estate. I've worked in up markets, down markets, sideways markets, markets that we didn't know what direction it was going in, right? And guess what we've had in every single market? We've had deals that got appraised that we don't know how they appraised for what they appraised for. We've had appraisal problems in every single market, up market, down market, sideways market, right? And guys, that's one of the problems we're just going to have to deal with in the real estate business. Our job is to sell houses. Our job is to get sellers contracts. If your appraisal comes in too low, you always have the option to try to dispute the appraisal. And guys, it's just a problem you got to deal with, guys. That's why we get paid the money we get paid, right? We get paid the money we get paid because we are problem solvers. So guys, I appreciate you guys being on this call with me tonight. It's fun. Let's make this a regular thing here. And guys, if I can help you, send me a message through Facebook. If any of you guys are watching this that are not in real estate agents that really work, please join my Facebook group, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And guys, I will talk to you guys soon. You guys have a great night.